These teams have been playing some great basketball. Okay, Julius Randle. Randle's got it cooking right now.
We didn't panic, obviously, in the struggles in the first half. We knew that we stuck with it. They would eventually fall, and they did.
You think you're in the game, and then all of a sudden, it's blowout city. The Thunder with their largest lead of the game. Caruso, three-pointer. Bang!
That's a 7, not bad. It's not first to one, and we know that. A lot more work to do.
All right, so again, SGA and the top-seeded Thunder take Game 1 of the West Final last night. And we mentioned this at the top of the hour, but it is worth repeating over and over. Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, contained to the perimeter. His average shooting distance, as you see there, by far the longest in any game in his career, regular season or playoffs, by over 2 feet. And we have J.B. Bickerstaff in our studio, coach of the Pistons, and we have the Windman who was there last night. So very simply, you're a coach. If you're talking to Anthony Edwards about what he needs to do specifically and differently to win Game 2, what is it?
I think it's simple. He's got to be patient and he's got to trust. The way that they play Oklahoma City's defense, they're trying to speed you up. That's why they keep sending so many bodies at you. So he's got to be patient to read the defense. He's got to trust his shot, trust his skill set, and trust his teammates.
Windman, a final word on this for the moment. I will admit, I picked Minnesota coming into the series. I have been so high on them going back to the beginning of the playoffs. Last night kind of shook me a little bit. What is your takeaway?
It wasn't just Greeny. Their whole team averaged 20 feet on all their shots. They took less than 20 shots at the rim in the game. It's no way to play basketball, whether you're playing AAU or NBA basketball. They've got to work harder to get better shots. And look, they had a bad shooting night. In the modern NBA, if you have a bad shooting night on open threes, you're probably going to lose. That's why they play best of 7. 51
threes attempted last night by the Timberwolves. We will have Game 2 of these Western Conference Finals coming away tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern Time on ESPN and on ESPN News. The Countdown crew will get your night started at 7:30 Eastern because of their seed, which was primarily predicated on the bad start they got off to. What are people missing if they're sleeping on Indiana?
Well, they are really built for the postseason because they have such great, strong, athletic wings. They are really going to surprise you if you're not ready for them, how much they use their physicality. They will pick you up, as Coach Bickerstaff said, at three-quarter court and pressure you throughout the game. And when one guy gets tired, they will bring in a fresh body and they will do it all over again. They play very physical. They have the ability to play 5 out. They can play with double big lineups. They can play with heavy wing lineups. And when Halliburton is on offensively, they are very potent in the clutch. The first team that alerted me to the concern with the Pacers was folks from the Cleveland Cavaliers in early April. They were worried because they saw how the Pacers were lining up on their side of the bracket and how well they were playing. Those worries were justified, and I suspect that the Knicks are seriously paying attention to the potency of this Pacers team.
So to put it as simply as we can, I always like to give the audience something specific to watch for as they watch the game tonight. You were telling me, at the risk of sounding ridiculous, that the pace for the Pacers is going to be the key. They want to speed it up, so we'll be watching tonight the pace at which the game is played. How does that get determined?
That's it, right? Obviously, you got to get stops. You want to defend without fouling so that guys aren't lined up in a set defense. But if you're the Pacers, you want to see how many different guys are initiating their offense, right? They've got a bunch of guys who can push, who can handle, 1 through 4, all the way to Siakam in that starting group. So that means they're getting stops. That means they're throwing the ball ahead. Now they're putting pressure. If you see Tyrese Halliburton being the lone ball handler, that means they're taking the ball out of the net a ton and allowing the Knicks to set their defense.
And on the other side, and we didn't really get to this as much at the beginning of the hour, the Knicks want to do the absolute opposite, and that's what they're good at, right, is playing late into the shot clock.
Yeah, they're great at it. We like to call them a ball control, like they're a running football team, right? They want to keep the ball in their hands. They're confident in guys like Brunson and Towns to be able to create shots late in the clock and also have shooting around them, right? Anunoby, Bridges, like they don't mind taking those hand grenade shots at the end of the shot clock, and they're comfortable being able to knock them down.
Windman, pace, at the risk, again, of reusing that word, pace in the Pacers-Knicks series might be the deciding factor.
I can't reiterate enough. Rick Carlisle will enter a playoff series thinking about the full 2 weeks. Yes, he obviously wants to win game one, but the moves that they will make in game one, Coach Bickerstaff compared the Knicks to a football team. The Pacers are like a boxer. They are going to inflict body blows, body blows, body blows with the intent of winning it at the end, and also winning game 4, winning game 6. Go ask the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were exhausted at the end of those games. The Knicks are better equipped, both personnel-wise and to have their guys play longer minutes. But the Pacers apply pressure to you in ways that you are not used to getting pressure in the NBA.
Yep, I remind you, for anyone who doesn't remember, the Knicks won the first 2 games of this best-of-7 against Indiana last year, and then it went in the opposite direction. Let me give you my Seeing Green odds boost, available right now on ESPN Bet Sportsbook. I have Jalen Brunson to score 40 or more points in any game of the series. However long it goes, we only need it to happen one time. If you want to ride with me, we have got it boosted from -110 to +110. So as we say, boost it, baby.
Well, first off, Greeny, let me get on you for a second, because I was watching Get Up yesterday, and I cannot believe that you allow Marcus Morris to say the nonsense that he was saying yesterday about the Oklahoma City Thunder, that he's not sold on OKC. We're talking about a team that's in the Western Conference Finals right now. We're talking about a team that arguably could be one of the best defensive teams we've seen in NBA history. And here it is last night. I'm watching Anthony Edwards, and I'm doing countdown, and I say, hey, this is a must-win. This game one is a must-win for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the reason I said it is because you have OKC coming off one-day rest, an emotional Game 7 series against the Denver Nuggets. I'm thinking 5-day rest for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're going to come out firing. Anthony Edwards, knowing SGA probably about to win the MVP, he's going to come out firing. And it was the complete opposite. And what it showed me last night was that it's just levels to this when it comes down to OKC defense. They have no weakness whatsoever defensively. Every single person on that roster could slide their puppies at a high level. Every single person on that roster are dogs. They have 0 cupcakes, 0 soft players, and that's a problem.
So I want you to watch. We put together some great tape for Coach, because you heard Ant-Man say the Thunder played like an AAU defense. So you've got some tape to demonstrate what that means and why it gave Ant-Man such a tough time.
Yeah, the AAU defense is full court pickup, body after body, multiple people's on your best offensive player to take the ball out of his hands. What I want you to take a look at is every time he has the ball, there's at least 6 eyes on him. He's never able to play one-on-one, and then there's 6 arms around when he's trying to get through crowded spaces, ready to contest, ready to frustrate him, ready to take the ball from him. You know, there's a reason why he shot the ball from 25 feet. Because that's where the space was. So give Oklahoma City's defense credit, because that's what they're elite at.
Windman, how about it?
Yeah, coming in and out of the huddles last night, Greeny, the Timberwolves players were really imploring Ant to be aggressive, go to the basket, drive, because he wasn't able to do that. He only had 1 shot at the rim in the entire game. And I think Ant's reaction was, well, maybe you guys could hit some shots, because they were able to generate a lot of good outside looks in this game. Because the Thunder were focusing so much on Ant, they just weren't able to hit them. And so I think both of those things probably need to happen. But it's easy to say what your strategy is against the Thunder when you actually have to feel it. When you are trying to get Alex Caruso or Cason Wallace or Lou Dort off of you, and they don't just die on screens, it is a bit of a shock to the system. The Timberwolves and Ant especially felt that full throttle last night.
So Big Perk, I mean, I'll go over the number again. His average shot distance was almost 26 feet last night. Specifically, what does Anthony Edwards need to do tomorrow night to get his team a win in Game 2?
Well, one, they got to get stops and get out in transition. And that's still hard because OKC gets back in transition defensively. To be honest, I think Anthony Edwards, he's probably going to have to use the screener, use more screens, or even take a page out of Steph Curry book where he's playing off the ball and coming off of screens. But as far as him trying to go isolation against this OKC team, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because there's no one that you could search out. Every single guy on that roster, from Luke Dortz to Cason Wallace to SGA to Alex Caruso, even their bigs, all of those guys are great one-on-one defenders, and they do a great job of shelling behind the guy that's being isolated. So he's going to have to make outside shots. That's the only shots that are going to be available. The only thing else is find a way to get to the free throw line. We saw Shea didn't have it going last night. What did he do? He got to the free throw line.
Yes, I'm looking for the number here very quickly. Anthony Edwards last night, 5 of 7 from the free throw line. The team shot 21 free throws. Again, they shot 51 threes, Minnesota did last night. Here's what I feel like I'm hearing, Coach, as we're having this conversation here. In every game and in every series, there's a team that is dictating and a team that is being dictated to. It feels like Oklahoma City dictated to Minnesota the style in which this game was going to be played. So that brings us back to, can the Timberwolves change that? This is what OKC does. It really caused problems for Ant-Man in Minnesota. Is there something that Minnesota can change up?
Well, yeah, and that's what it's going to come down to, right? That's what the playoffs is all about, is this, can you counterpunch? So Oklahoma City came out, set the tone. Now Minnesota has to come back and counterpunch.
What's the punch? You're the coach. What's the punch?
Well, first, you got to make some shots. Like, I know it sounds simple, but they created a ton of wide open shots. You got to knock those down. You got to play with more tempo and then allow Anthony Edwards to be off the ball some, because they're going to help even if it's Anthony Edwards. So if you allow Mike Conley or one of those other guys drive the ball, now Anthony Edwards can be on the perimeter and get some easy catch and shoot opportunities as well.
X19, Cindy, is just to give an illustration to the point that Coach is making here. The Timberwolves shot 11 of 39 on what we describe as open threes. They actually shot better on contested threes. Say that last night was just a lot of missing by Minnesota, and then game 2 they start doing a lot of making, then everything will look very different?
Yeah, and I think that's the natural inclination when you play a team like Oklahoma City. But go look at the stats throughout the season. You see that happen over and over and over. Yes, you think it's a bit of a one-off, especially their bench. Minnesota's bench gave them nothing last night, which is unusual. They have one of the best benches in the league. But this happens. The Thunder baits you into these shots for a reason, and it does tend to work. But I would say that one place to start would be staying out of transition. Like Coach said, in the last 2 games, Game 7 against Denver, Game 1 last night, the Thunder have outscored their opponents by 51 points in points off turnovers. That is an unsurvivable measure. So if you don't give away those easy baskets and play more half-court basketball, you're going to have a better shot against it.
Yeah, the Thunder had 31 points off.
You can't help it.
Yeah, go ahead, Perk.
You can't help it. Every time we talk about the Thunder, we talk about their opponent and we say, oh, don't turn the ball over. Well, they led the league this season in forced turnovers. So it's not like they're making you turn the ball over. With their physicality, with their active hands, they also led the league in deflections, right? And so this is what this team does. They hang their hat on the defensive side of things. Yes, we know they have SGA. We know that he's it was the leading scorer this past season. But when it comes down to the Thunder, let me say this. They're never going to change. Their defense is going to travel, whether it's in OKC, Minnesota, the YMCA, the LA Fitness. They are going to be the same every single night. A bunch of piranhas, hyenas, they're going to jump on you like that every night defensively.
I feel like if I'm understanding what you're saying, Big Perk, I'll put it in the form of a question. I like to ask, was this a bad game or a bad sign for the Timberwolves of things to come? Which way would you go?
Oh, it's a bad sign. The Timberwolves are in trouble. I don't see this. Look, this series is not going past 6 games. I'm telling you this right now. Minnesota might get one. I'm telling you, you have to see it up close in person. I saw it last night with my own 2 eyes. The Oklahoma City Thunder didn't even play their best basketball, to be honest. And they didn't even, I thought they did okay, but they wasn't at their best. Imagine when they're at their best, what's going to happen. This team is for real. This team is going to the NBA Finals, and they should be the favorite to win it all.
Now, they are overwhelmingly the favorite to win it all at ESPN Bet. They have been all along, and they remain a prohibitive favorite to win the championship. You see it now. They're minus 700 to win the series. They're 7.5-point favorite in game 2. Coach, I'll let you finish it up quickly here. I picked Minnesota before the second round. I said they're my team now to win the whole thing. I just think they look so good and complete. I'm shook. After last night, I am shook. Should I be shook?
I mean, when you sleep on it, probably not, right? I still think that Minnesota, if they create those looks, I don't think they're going to shoot as poorly over a series as they did last night. If you put the ball in the basket, you give yourself a chance. Everybody defends better when they make shots. It brings the energy level up. Again, their bench unit has to be more productive. If their bench unit is more productive, they'll give themselves a shot at it.
All right, I'll leave it there for the moment. Much more on this game as we go. And
I'm on fire. It's 88 over here.